All right. Well, it looks like we are live, everybody. Happy Monday night, Royal We live chat. We were not together last week on the Royal We live channel because there was some pretty bad weather and there was some thunderstorms. Uh, well, actually, and that was Saturday. There was Saturday that this past Saturday that we were actually out because of thunderstorms. I believe last week was actually the holiday, uh, last Monday, which is why we weren't with live chat last Monday. Hi Tanya, how are you? And then Saturday morning we had a really weird storm roll through, which wiped out Royal We Fellowship because it took out our power, took out the internet. That was pretty rough, but that's what happens when you're in the Midwest. You get some rough weather, and it comes out of nowhere. Today it was raining off and on, but we're here, and I'm happy to be here. So thank you, Tanya, for being here. It's good to see you. Salon Savvy 64. It's always good to see you. Brian Torrance, how are you doing? What's going on? Monday was the 4th. Yeah, the holiday. That's why we weren't here last Monday. Mark says, wow, wow, wow. It's good to see all of you. JS says hi. Good, Tanya. I'm glad that you're okay. Emily, hi. How are you? Well, welcome, everybody. It's good to see you here. If you're new to the Royal We Live chat, I'm glad that you are here. And I will be taking phone calls. Mark Hobbs says, I remember how the weather was when I was there in St. Louis. Yeah, it's radical, man. I'll tell you what, this is what I'm a California transplant, so I'm in my 4th year here in the Midwest. I love it. I wish I would have moved here 10 years ago from California. And, that's just me. A lot of people like California. I'm happy to be. I feel more at home here in the Midwest than I did there. And I grew up and I was born and raised in California, but I feel more at home here, if this makes any sense to you. But the storms here are unlike storms that I was ever used to growing up. So just this past weekend, crazy storm came through, wiped everything out. Suddenly we lost internet, lost power. But what I remember about this particular storm was the lightning and the thunder, because it wasn't lightning that struck the ground like we typically know of and see. It was lightning that spread out across the sky like fingers. Like you could just see these fingers of electricity just darting across the entire sky and from cloud to cloud, and then whole clouds would just glow, and then you would hear a distant roar of that thunder. But the lightning wasn't hitting the ground. It was just fingers just stretching out across the sky. It was like something out of a movie. And I was just outside just looking up going, wow, that is intense. It's insane to see that kind of lightning storm. And here in the Midwest, we get that from time to time. Here in St. Louis, we get that I call it finger crawling lightning across the sky. Pretty cool. So we are doing good evening, everybody. Good evening, Mary. Some more people are hopping on here. Trumpeter Swan, it's good to see you. Welcome, Mary. Doris, hello, hello, hello. So we'll go ahead and take phone calls since y'all are here. In fact, I'm going to hook it up right now, and I will post the telephone number. So you're welcome to call in and chat with me. We'll talk about what's going on, see what it is we can work out. Let me go ahead and punch the number in for you so that you all know what it is. And then right after I put the telephone number on, we'll talk about some of the videos that you can expect to see this week on the Royal We. Now, you would think that I would have my telephone number memorized, but I don't. It's a Google Voice number that I use for this, and I don't have it. But to be fair, I don't even have my regular number memorized. I just don't. Have any of you experienced having so many passwords that you just start to forget your own phone number? Call in and chat line. Here we go. So there we go. Royal We. Call in and chat line is up. Go ahead and share that around. Tanya, if you get that, you can bounce that phone number around a couple of times. But Hey, what's up, Minnesota Jude? It's good to see you here. And Michelle, I'm glad you're here. Glad you caught alive. Uh, in the meantime, okay. So Emily wants to get straight to talking about the problem relationships, and I'm down for that. That's what we're here for. So, are narcs intentional? Well, this is an interesting thing because yes, they are. They're very intentional. They're very intentional with what they do, but their intentions are different than our intentions. You know, I one time was asked, not asked, but I was accused dealing with narcissistic people. They were siblings, and we would go over there and hang out with them almost every week, which we shouldn't have. And the family abuse started taking place, the name calling, the cussing, and it was irritating me. I was about to be a father. I did not want to be around name calling and cussing, and I was doing everything I could to say, look, we don't need to call people names, this and that. And it was brought to my attention that somebody amongst them said, we don't understand his intentions. So my intentions in the situation were for people to get along, for no fighting, for no arguing, for no name calling, for no cussing. My intentions were to show up and for everybody to feel welcomed and at peace. Even though it wasn't my home, I just felt like if we're going to be there, then everybody should want to make sure people are comfortable, right? It makes sense to me. So they look at that as not knowing what those intentions are. They thought my intentions were off. Maybe they thought my intentions were controlling. I don't know. But my question as I left was, what were their intentions? Were their intentions to be a bullying family that does and says whatever they want to? And I get it. It was their house after all. But are their intentions really that people have to come and stay and be around that? Because we straight up left and we stopped coming over, and that made them mad. Oh, you think you're too good to come over? No, I don't want to be around the name calling and cussing. And so there became a battle of, I guess, perceived intentions. My intentions was for everybody to get along. What were their intentions? I don't know. I think with narcissistically abusive people, their intentions are to, in order to feel at peace at all, they have to be in control, in power. They have to be bullying somebody. They have to find a position. That's their intention, is to position themselves. And if they don't position themselves, then they don't know what to do with themselves, apparently. I hope that makes sense to you. But yes, they are intentional. The things narcissistically abusive people do are very intentional. Michael Emmons says you're in the Army now. You're in the Army now. You've been drafted, the Royal We. Michael, feel free to elaborate on that. It sounds exciting, especially all the capitals, but elaborate on that. Tell me what you mean. I'd be interested to hear more of what your thoughts are on that. Michelle Gano says, I was basically banned from family things after years of opening my home and playing servant, but I was no longer welcome because they didn't want drama? Basically banned from family gatherings after years of opening my home and playing servant, but I was no longer welcome because they didn't want drama. It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. Why would you give so much and then they accuse you of being drama? You know, here's my final say on this. If somebody loves you and cares about you, then they are not going to look at you as being dramatic or toxic or any of that stuff. And I tread lightly here because many of us have left narcissistically abusive relationships because we now understand that they are narcissistic and toxic, right? So there's a catch to this. And the catch is this. Even though you and I know that they are narcissistic and toxic and that's why we stay away, we are not out running up to their faces telling them that they're toxic and narcissistic. We're not launching smear campaigns. We're not calling up their friends telling them how toxic they are. We're not calling their jobs saying, do you know so-and-so who works there? Well, they're toxic and narcissistic. We are not going behind their backs to their family members, asking them what's wrong with them, how crazy they are, this and that. We are not doing that. That's the difference between when you talk about intentions. That's the difference between you and a narcissistic personality disordered person. The difference is that even though you know they're toxic and they're narcissistic, you would rather just get away because you still care for them as a person. Whether you believe it or not, you still care. You care enough to say, okay, look, I'm just going to leave. I'm out. I'm going to get, and you, in doing that, you kind of eat the pain. You eat the pain of a failed relationship. You eat the pain of never getting your voice heard. You eat the pain of that rejection. But at least you know you're not a narcissistically abusive person, which is good. You do not have that personality disorder, okay? And this is what separates you because your intentions are not to hurt them. A narcissistically abusive person carries the intentions to hurt people. And this is what they don't just call you toxic and narcissistic and dramatic because it's true. They say these things to hurt you. That's the difference. I hope this makes sense. Are you following me? You point out the toxic, narcissistic, personality disordered people so that you can get away, not that because you want to hurt them. Narcissistic people point you out as being dramatic and narcissistic so they can hurt you. You follow me on that? We do have to be careful today because there are a lot of people who are running around saying these people are toxic, these people are narcissistic, blah, 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 blah. And many of you have probably gotten into relationships because you fell into the sob story that narcissistic people can do. Oh, my family is so mean to me and this and that. And it comes to pass that they were the most narcissistic people you ever dealt with, right? Ooh, we got a phone call. I'm going to hold that thought. Hello, you're live on the Royal We.
Hi, Kevin. This is Mark. Mark Hobbs.
Hey.
Yeah, I just wanted to share something that really helped me in my recovery from narcissistic abuse. Okay. Well, after coming from narcissistic abuse from my parents and in-laws too, but that's a whole another story. And reading enough books about it and stuff, and yeah, I mean, God knows there's a lot of them out there and stuff.
Right.
I kind of pick up on a pattern. I kind of pick up on a pattern on kind of how a narcissist thinks a little bit.
How's that?
Well, the way it worked with me, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but how it worked with me, I kind of think like a strategist. You know what I mean? I mean, that's just how I roll. I kind of think, well, if I was a narcissist, how would I be doing it like this? Why would I do it like that? Why would I think like that?
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
And in a way, I mean, I'm not advising, anyone else to do this or try this, unless they're comfortable to. In a way, I kind of learned to get in touch with my own little inner narcissist.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in a strategic way, not to pick up on their lifestyle and doing what they want to do, and you know what I mean, going down that dark path. God knows that's a rabbit hole you do not want to go down.
True.
Because
true.
I mean, because the truth is, I always thought, and even believed the lie that narcissists get ahead of you in life. It may seem that way.
It seems that way.
Because they lie. They maintain power and control over people and make them see what they want them to see to get ahead in life. And they look all rich, powerful, whatever, happy or whatever. But you only see what they want you to see.
Okay.
And that's what's so sick about it, But we all really know the truth that deep down, they're really miserable. They're very empty, and they do what they do to you in relationships, and no matter who the person is, your mother, your father, sister, brother, spouse, whoever, it's all about power and control. That's really what it's all about at the end of the day.
That's true.
So yeah, I mean, just kind of thinking like the narcissist, you kind of makes it easier to detach, so that way you're not affected so deeply by what they are doing, to the point to where you're just undone.
Right. Right.
You kind of think you got to kind of get a step ahead of your enemy. You know what I mean? Because I know I know how that works because I've been in the military. So yeah, think like a strategist.
Right. Yeah. No, you're
Yeah, once I
absolutely
look back on how my parents abused me, I'm just like, wow, dang, that's pretty much why they do it. Wow.
Yeah, one of the, it's interesting you say that because there's a video I'm going to get ready to put out maybe this week.
Hmm.
I'm not sure, but uh, I talk about if you have to get involved with a narcissistic person for whatever reason, siblings, whatever, and it's best to just go no contact, move on with your life, obviously. But if you can't avoid coming across them, it's best to go into the situation with a game mindset. And this is
Hmm.
it's a difficult one because people often say, "Well, you don't want to play games with narcissists." Well, and that's true, you don't. But if you have to be around them, you have to have a game mentality on. So I liken it to like baseball with some or any sports for that matter, where there's some rules. Rule number one is understand that you're going into a game and there's a chance you might win, there's a chance you might lose, but either way, you leave the game on the field and you walk away and you go live your life. You shake the dust off your cleats, and you walk off the field and you go live your life. So if you go into it with the game mentality, then your heart's not there. And this is important in dealing with toxic people and relationships. And the second aspect to that is understanding that if you're going into a game, you're not going in there to rest. It's not time to take a nap. You're not going to find peace, right? And talking
Hmm.
about warfare, it's one of the things that I've learned about narcissistic personality disorder is one of the things that triggers their rage is when they feel like somebody is comfortable around them. It's a
Mm.
phenomenon. It really is. It's beyond me because I mean, me personally, when I invite people over to my house, I want them to be comfortable. I would not have people over unless I wanted them to be comfortable. I want you, the Royal We family, the community here, to be comfortable even on the stream. But narcissistic people, the more you hang out with them, the more obviously you're going to naturally be comfortable. You're going to feel safe around them. But with narcissistic personality disorder, it starts to irritate
Mm.
them. It starts to trigger them, and they almost resent that you are comfortable and you feel safe.
Mm.
And so they do something to blow that up. And so that's why I say understand, with the game mentality, you're not going into a toxic situation, whether it's your parents, family, whomever, to feel safe or to feel at rest. You are not. Don't go in there thinking you can be at ease. Go in there knowing,
Mm.
again, you're in a game. You're on a playing field because that, unfortunately, is where narcissists live. Their entire life is a playing field. And it's a sad game of who's better. And so if you understand that, you'll walk into it knowing that it's their game. It's just a field. You can kick the dirt off your cleats when you leave and don't rest because you'll get a fastball thrown at you. Be ready to swing, you know?
No, that's pretty much just the nail on the head right there. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Because yeah, that's just what I've been what dealt with for years. But well, been no contact successfully for the past three. So, and it's been a blessing. I kind of noticed how out with the toxic people than in with more healthier people through my local church or elsewhere even.
Yeah,
The
right.
more you live your authentic life, the more you draw the right people into your own life.
Yeah,
So I figure I share that success story with the rest of the Royal We family, and I'm
awesome.
hoping that there'll be a sense of hope from my story as I have shared tonight.
There is. Thank you. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you, Kevin. You have a good night, sir.
You too. Bye. All right. Well, listen, I'm curious to know just to find out. Somebody give me a thumbs up if that phone call sounded okay. Did it come through okay? Were you able to hear the caller and me? It looked like Tanya for a while was saying that there was a little bit of an issue. It looked on my end, the stream looked like it was okay. I saw the audio levels going, so I'm not sure exactly how it came across. So let me know if if the phone call worked. If not, I've got some technical issues to troubleshoot. Oh, okay. So everybody says it worked. Okay, perfect. Good, good, good. By the way, hi, Rise Shines. It's good to see you here. Left message on your latest video. See you soon. Right on. The audio is windy. Huh. Sounds great. All good here. We are all safe here. Okay. Sounds fine. Perfect. I'm not sure why it sounded windy for a while. It may have been when I was adjusting the knobs. I sometimes like to play with the knobs a little bit. Twist the knobs. Dialing that sound. That could have been what it is. Audio's good. It's fine now. Okay, great. So, where was I before? I don't remember. All right. Let's talk about some of the, while you guys are all chatting, anybody have any questions in the chat room? Anything on videos? What's coming out? I will tell you what to expect. The videos, I'll give you tomorrow and Wednesday's video in advance. So I'll give you an idea of what you can expect so you can start to think about it. Maybe formulate some comments. All right, let's see. Today's video, by the way, that was uploaded was on acceptance. All right. I talk about how narcissistic, we all, in a way, fall on a narcissistic spectrum. Do we not? But oftentimes we get caught up wondering, well, are we as narcissistic as they? Are we the bad ones? Who's more narcissistic? And so what I discovered and what I've come up with is that it doesn't matter who's more narcissistic. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that we know who we are and we know where we belong. That's what really matters. Let's see, we got some questions here. Jennifer asked Kevin advice on dealing with disordered stepmother. My father recently died. I would not deal with a disordered stepmother, especially if your father died. It's unfortunate, and you're going to grieve the loss of your father. However, unless your father has left you things according to a will that are rightfully yours, then I wouldn't even bother. And, I know and listen, I lost my father last summer around May. I lost my dad to a sudden heart attack, and he was married, and I actually get along with his wife though. But he didn't leave us anything, and I'm okay with that. And I wouldn't bother her for anything, even getting along. So, but if you don't get along, if she's a disordered person, unless you know that there's a will or if there's something that your father wanted you to have, I wouldn't even mess. I wouldn't even bother. Why? She's not your mother. You're a grown woman. You don't need her. You shouldn't need her for anything. It could only add, if she's disordered, it can only add trauma and turmoil on an already bad situation, being that your dad has passed away. Let's see. What other questions do we have? Wow, you guys, Step Monster was supposed to come. I don't even know where that question was. A lot of questions since then. Let's see, where are we? I think they're above the law. I still don't know if my mother, she was a narcissist and the best divider of her children, even turned against the son, but we gave life. Yeah. Dealing with disordered mom. Yeah, so that's how I just wouldn't even bother. I wouldn't even bother, to be honest with you. So telephone line is still open. You're welcome to call in if you would like. You're welcome to ask some questions. Oh, Marks asks, how do you know where you fall into the narcissistic spectrum? All right. Well, Mark, there you go. So that is today's video that was uploaded this afternoon. And the answer to that question is uh, it doesn't matter. So, because, and here's why, because this question starts to get into this competition, comparing who's more narcissistic, who's less narcissistic. And so I'm going to get some hard truth out here on you. And that is that, believe it or not, there are people who are probably less narcissistic than you and me. There are people who are more perfect. And, there are people who are way more narcissistic, violent, hostile, and aggressive. So when we talk about the question of where are we have to approach this from not a comparison, but instead just an acceptance. And what I mean by that, what today's video was about, was accepting who we are, everything about ourselves. Okay? Is it good to want to improve upon yourself? Always. So you can ask people for help in areas of your life that you can improve. But your basic character, which translates into whether or not you're a bully, you're hostile, you're aggressive, these things typically aren't changeable. They could be modified and whatever, but they're typically not changeable, right? So where do you sit on the spectrum? Well, you sit where you sit. And the biggest part of this is accepting where you sit, accepting that this is the type of person that you are. And when you accept this and you live in authenticity with it, then you can accept that there are people who are more aggressive and hostile and violent than you. And there are people who are, in a lot of ways, better than you, right? And it doesn't matter because you accept who you are, where you are, and you find your people, like-minded people in the same way. The problem is that we tend to get crossed up with people of different areas. And we were always led to believe that all humans are basically the same. And now we know that's not true. There's no way you can have an intimate, close, long-lasting relationship with a violent, hostile individual if you're not, because you wouldn't even know how to deal with it, right? And ultimately what's going to happen is you're going to have to become violent and hostile just to be able to deal with that. And now that takes you away from your true authentic self. So do you see the problem with starting to just kind of wave around and cross into different streams and with different types of people that, the narcissistic, the Royal We slogan here is that narcissistic abuse is often the result of being with people you have no business being with, doing things you have no business doing, going places you have no business going. We were raised and brought up believing that that's okay. We were all thrown through public school, through all kinds of things. We're all thrown in a giant ring with all different walks of life. Then here you go, go to it. And if you want to get even deeper than that, we are all thrown in this world, kind of in that way. So the burden is on you and me to learn how to accept who we are, everything about ourselves, what it is we're looking for in life, and then to find that we're looking for and to hold out. And here's the other thing about that, because many people are going to say, yeah, but we have to survive in the world. Well, listen, when you accept yourself and live in authenticity, here's what you do. You reserve your authentic, intimate relationships for those who get you and understand you. With the rest of the world, you learn just to negotiate. And that's what relationships are, negotiation. And when you learn about this and when you accept yourself and your authenticity, then you can accept that there are also violent, hostile, narcissistic people. But guess what? You can learn how to negotiate with these personalities without internalizing pain. People do this all the time. We got another telephone call. You are live on the Royal We.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can. I can hear you great, loud and clear.
All right. Great.
My name is.
Go ahead.
I just found your channel a couple days ago, and so I've been binge watching you. I've watched other narcissist channels in the past. I love your channel.
Thank you.
I love how you incorporate the Bible.
Thank you.
With it, and then the conspiracy parts of what everything's coming out right now, as well.
Do I sprinkle some of that out there? I didn't realize if I did or not. I might.
Well, I might pick up on it, but I did just watch your one of your videos you did where it was about Narcissism and Truth Seeking after narcissism abuse or narcissistic abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I watched that one.
Okay.
One thing I wanted to another form of gaslighting, because I watched one you had mentioned when, like, if you have money laying around and then it goes missing and they gaslight you with that, saying you're misplacing stuff.
Right.
Mine does it in a reversed way, where he misplaces stuff all the time and then accuses me of doing something with it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just as bad.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
I mean, it's just because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you have somebody coming to you saying, where's my keys? You took my keys. And you're
What
thinking
did you? Yeah.
to yourself,
Yep.
what in the world? I haven't seen your
Mhm.
keys. Are you sure? You're lying. I know I put the keys over there and now they're gone. And the whole time they're in their back pocket or something ridiculous
Yes.
like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Because actually, I'll go to this one little quick story. And this was probably I've been with mine for 25 years. I'm getting ready to leave again for the final time. So this was probably about 21 years ago. It was his hunting knife. It was a really good knife that he used. And he accused me of doing something with it. And I got yelled at, cussed at, of course, all this fun stuff that we get.
Sure.
And he ends up finding it a year later in the back of his truck.
A year later. Wow.
A year later, he found it in the back of his own pickup truck.
Yeah.
And actually even jokingly said, you probably went out there and put it out there. I mean, it's just like.
Yeah. No, that's
so I just wanted to point out.
Yeah.
Yeah. How that can be twisted to they don't just take and move your stuff. They actually accuse you of moving their stuff and doing something with their stuff.
Right. And
when they're.
Yeah. Gaslighting, as we're discovering, there's all different types of gaslighting techniques. When I first started to learn about narcissism myself, when I wasn't quite sure what was happening with me, the typical stuff of gaslighting comes in the form of, when I experienced it, it was coming in the form of them being just hateful, right? And
yeah.
That something's wrong. I mean, it's just in our nature. We have God-given discernment. Yes. When somebody's looking at you cross and you're saying, hey, look, what's wrong? Let's talk out of genuineness and authenticity. And this was my first experience with gaslighting. And I had no idea what gaslighting was. Like, what's going on? And to my surprise, the person would go, what are you talking about? Nothing's wrong, Kevin. I'll tell you if there's something wrong. And they would say it in that tone. Which further showed that something was wrong. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And I think most of us are smart enough to know, okay, well, let's not push the issue. That's fine. But I'd come back the next week, and it was the same thing. Being looked at cross-eyed again, cussing under the breath, effing idiot, stuff like that. I'm like, look, listen, did I make you mad? What? No, I'll tell you if you make me mad, Kevin. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. Because you are straight up hateful and angry, but you're trying to tell me that you're not. And so this was my first introduction into gaslighting. Very confusing, very hurtful. And it does start to make it makes me question my reality. And I think that narcissistic people do this type of thing in effort to, one, throw you off, but also to assert that, no, their personality is something, whatever you thought they were, they want to be the opposite. Really weird.
Yes, really, I agree with that.
I thought it was a girl, by the way. It was a girl. Not only that, it was a very young girl. I mean, like in her late teens. And I get that people go through weird things in their late teens, early 20s, whatever. It happened to be a sibling. And when I met this person, I thought they were one of the sweetest people I could ever meet. And I think I grew kind of a bond. I thought this person was really sweet. And it's almost like she wanted desperately to show me that she was the opposite of what I thought. Really weird. And it is. It was so weird. As I look back, so weird. Such a weird situation, such a weird, I guess, personality uh, thing to deal with and to come across.
Yeah, well, I've actually said to, like, my friends and stuff, I'm like, it's like he hates me. I don't even know why he wants to be with me, because it's like he
Yes.
literally
Yes.
despises me and hates me, and I'm
Yes.
like, God, what did I
Yes.
do?
Right. And once you realize that they really are hate-filled and anger and resentful, then it becomes even more strange to you because you're then trying to pull away. Because here's the
Oh yeah,
here's the normal function of if you and I don't like somebody, what do? What do you do if there's somebody you don't like?
you
Stay,
pull away.
you stay away from them.
You don't
Right,
talk to them.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. There's
Yes.
people there's people at work that I just avoid. If I see them walking down the
Yep.
hall, I go the other way. Right. I just don't, because if you don't like somebody, why? It makes no sense. But with narcissistic people, they show you that they hate you and don't like you, yet they want you there. This is
Yeah.
the most disturbing part of the personality disorder, because on one hand, you're saying, okay, it's obvious you don't like me. You have called me every negative, foul-mouthed name in the handbook that's ever been written. You look at me cross-eyed every single time you're looking at me. Why don't you just come up to me and say, I don't like you. Let's go our separate ways. At least be an honest individual. Be authentic. But narcissists won't. They'll throw that on you, and then they'll say, I never said I don't like you. You're the one that doesn't like me. And you're like, what?
Yep.
So you spent the past month cussing me out, calling me names, trying to start fights with me, and now you're accusing me of not liking you. And this is why you just can never win, and you don't get along with them. It comes from a deep-rooted place of the reality that they really don't care. Either way, it's not that they hate you, but it's not that they ever really loved you. They just don't care. They're just really the extreme end of whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
I agree. And here's another little quick thing, real quick, and not so somebody else can call in. But speaking about not liking people. So when I first met his family, this was back then. This is almost 25 years ago. His entire family is narcissists. But I was sitting over there, and there was this other part of the family that was supposed to come over and visit that day, and they worked in Alaska during the summers or something, and they'd come back, to Washington, where I'm at, and they're just talking horribly about these family members that I have never met. It was an aunt and then her daughter's, family, and I'd never met these people, and they're just saying all these horrible things about them and how bad they are and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm going, and you're invited these people over? Because I'm going, man, these must be really bad people,
Right.
And they got there, finally showed up, and they got up and they hugged them and said, oh my God, I love you, I miss you. My mouth physically dropped open.
Isn't it disgusting?
Because,
It's
I was like,
disgusting.
what?
Yeah. It is literally disgusting. I personally can't. I can't deal with that. I had to step away from entire family members because of that right there. Because of the two-facedness, of the one way they talk about people behind their back, and then the next moment they act as though everything's good. No. And if you were to approach them on it and say, listen, I heard you saying horrible things about them, they would accuse you of being a drama person, of being a liar, of being selfish. You're being selfish. And it's just disgusting. It's disturbing on so many levels.
So many. It's just that absolutely, just because I'd never been really exposed to anything like that before. If I don't like you, you know it. I just don't talk to you. I'm not like a mean, and I don't go out verbally attack you or anything. I just won't talk to you. If I don't like you, I'll be civil. If you say something to me, I will respond.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense to talk to people and try to engage when you just don't like them, when you know you don't get along.
Yeah, exactly.
Which means,
so, but I will.
Which is wild. But thank you. No, I'll finish up when the call ends. But thank you.
Yep.
Glad you called.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Right, bye. Yeah, hope you all heard that phone call. That was just wild. Um, you know, just brought back memories for me. The gaslighting, really off the chart stuff. Uh, the biggest issue with gaslighting is the whole thing of it's just dishonest. It is so dishonest, especially when it comes to wanting, not liking you. Narcissistic people don't like you. They don't want you. They just want to use you, whatever. And so, because they're in this place with you, they will cuss you out, call you names, bully you, but then they will tell you that there's nothing wrong. They're not angry. They're not mad. It's you. It's crazy. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. Well, listen, everybody. It is 9:43. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up so that I can get tomorrow's video uploaded. So let's talk real quick about, and then next week we will be back next Monday night, and we will take more telephone calls next Monday night for sure. Let me give you a heads up on tomorrow's video though before we wrap this up. Tomorrow, it's going to be one of two videos. These two kind of go together. It's going to be Stop Fighting Narcissists, because fighting narcissistic people, what is that video about? Doggone it. Let me pull up my notes. I just made the video and I already forgot. It's about not fighting with narcissistic people. And the reason is, if I can find my notes here. Okay. Yeah. So fighting with narcissists, you're not living your own life, right? You end up living their life. So it's common for people to want to feel like they need to puff their chest out, go and get back at the narcissist and hold your ground, stand your ground, whatever the case may be. But tomorrow's video or the day after, it depends. I'm going to share both video concepts with you, and you tell me which one you want to see first. So this first one I'm talking about is the narcissistic battle trap, and how all you're doing is you're living their life, not yours. The whole purpose of narcissistic people trying to drag you into a fight is not because they care whether they win or lose or whether you win or lose. The whole goal is for them to neutralize you. And I think on a deeper level, neutralizing you is something that the devil, if you will, the enemy of this world, wants to do to you and to me. If you can be wrapped up fighting and arguing with narcissistic people, siblings, family members, exes, husbands, wives, whatever the case may be, guess what you're not doing? You're not living your life. You're not being who you're called to be. You're not living to your greatest potential. You are trapped in a little ring like a cage fighter, wasting your life fighting this person, except it's worse than being a cage fighter because there's no audience. And there's no fat check coming your way. You're just wasting your time in the cage fighting. So that's going to be one of the videos. The other one that I wanted to throw out your way, because these can go in opposite order, but it's that narcissistic people have nothing to lose. And they live their lives every day having nothing to lose. And I think this is important to understand because it's said that people are often their most extreme versions of themselves when they feel they have nothing to lose, right? So if you felt you had nothing to lose, you would probably do some pretty extreme things based on your personality. So if you have a narcissistic person or a person who's prone to anger, what do you get when they feel they have nothing to lose? Well, you get a lot of angry outbursts, narcissistic rage, all that type of stuff. So it makes sense to say that narcissistic people with the personality disorder, that is, they live every day of their lives feeling like they have nothing to lose. And then I talk about some of the differences and why they feel nothing to lose. I talk about the fear of fighting that you and I typically have. One of the things that keeps us from fighting with narcissists is fear. It's not always fear of the physical, attributes of the narcissist or anything like that. It's not always the case. Sometimes we're not afraid of them. The fear we deal with is the fear of ourselves. What would fighting with narcissists say about us, right? And when we ask ourselves, what are we afraid of losing? Well, guess what? It means we feel we have things to lose in this life. For many of us, we fear that we would lose our moral standards. We fear we would lose, fall from grace, for example. Narcissistic people don't have that fear, which is interesting because many narcissistically abusive people go to church. You see them in the front rows in the pews, raising their hands in worship, giving money to the pastors, whatever, yet they're very abusive. So what does that tell you about the fear? It tells you they have none, which means they really don't believe, right? How can you say you believe in something but then live like you have no fear that it can be lost? So it makes no sense. So anyways, these are the two videos. So what do you all say? Should I put the one up first? Because they can go in either order. So tomorrow, would you rather see a video on narcissists have nothing to lose as opposed to you and what it is we fear, or don't waste your time fighting with narcissists? Which one? Which one? Let's see. I'm waiting. I want to get some I want to get a vote here so I know which one I'm going to upload tomorrow. Okay, so two people at the same time said tomorrow's video should be don't waste your time fighting with the narcissist. Oh, somebody said narcissists have nothing to lose. Don't waste your time fighting. Okay. Don't waste your time. Well, now a lot of people are saying the second one. The second one is narcissists have nothing to lose. So they're both good videos. They're both good topics. They could be, don't waste your time. Okay, so I'll do don't waste your time tomorrow. I'll put that video up, not to waste time fighting with narcissists. And then Wednesday will be narcissists have nothing to lose. And I think that would be actually a good order. So I appreciate your input on that. So if we first talk about not wasting your time, then the next day, Wednesday, we'll talk about why narcissists do waste their time fighting because they have nothing to lose. With that, have a great night, everybody. Blessings to you all. Saturday morning is Royal We Fellowship. So for those of you who are a part of Royal We Fellowship, be here, not on this channel, but the Fellowship channel on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. And I look forward to seeing you Saturday. And I'll be back here for live chat Monday night. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.